What is up, crap bags? JJ back here from Run Pure Bets with another free pick for it. This time it's going to be Major League Baseball for Tuesday, July the 27th. Game will be played between the Tampa Bay Rays and the New York Yankees. Going for the Rays, Shane McClanahan. And for the Yanks, Jordan Montgomery. Current betting spread is Rays minus 150, total 8.5. Relatively light weekend overall for me, and even for my standards, as I'm a relatively light bettor as it is. Quality over quantity. But I only had Seattle first five money line from Friday's vid, minus 105, which was a blah push. On the White Sox first five plus half a run, minus 115. That did cash fairly sweat-free, Sunday Night Baseball. I haven't done a solo vid in a week, though, so here we are. You may also have noticed I changed my shirt from the earlier tennis video I did with Spread. First of all, I looked like an oversized refrigerator with that shirt on. And second of all, these days I'm staying home to protect others. And that's really done me no favors either. No good deed goes unpunished, as the cool kids say. Take today, for instance. I'm minding my own business, eating cantaloupe in the kitchen. I know, I'm a bit of a weird guy. Kristen comes downstairs, looks me up and down and goes, "You've changed a bit over this past week and a half." I just ignore the comment, because sticks and stones, right? She goes, "Everything all right? You just kind of look different." I'm like, if you're implying that I look fatter, you can just say it. I'm over here eating like a fucking rhinoceros because it's the only option I truly have. You prefer I go out partying, spraying the 19 all over North Jersey? I'm over here doing me right now, and cantaloupe is what's currently making me happy. So I'm just going to keep spending time eating cantaloupe. She goes, "Simmer down. I was just saying, your hair's getting a little long. I guess it's kind of throwing off the whole look. You could fuck that cantaloupe for all I care." I'm like, kind of caught me off guard with that comment. But truly, imagine not poking the cantaloupe, though. All right, look, enough about cantaloupe. Let's talk some bases. Some may call this going back to the well. Some may call this burning more money. But this line is woof off. Give me the Yanks first five here. Grabbing the half run. Minus 115 DK in New Jersey. For those that remember, I backed the O's with John Means in this exact same spot last Tuesday. Versus McClanahan. Means looked terrible, though, in that start. He did bounce back to look better in his next one on Sunday, but I also felt the O's put a decent amount of pressure on McClanahan. I think his numbers looked pretty squeaky clean, but he also threw really well in that start. And I did say in the video that when McClanahan's not walking guys and giving up home runs, he's a really good pitcher. And I know you can make that argument about a lot of different pitchers, but, the agita. But if you think about it, McClanahan's, first of all, got really good stuff. So he's a little different from most pitchers. However, I'm still at the stage with him where I have doubts on his ability to properly locate a bunch of his good pitches with consistency. And you do see it at times with his starts. I think that's why he gives up the home runs he does, and he walks the amount of guys he does. But again, he threw really well against the Orioles overall. But I still think they put a little bit of pressure on him where they really could have made him pay in certain instances. He did also have some help from the umpires, getting a few extra inches on corners multiple times. I'm not going to scapegoat McClanahan here. The umpires have been so bad this year, for and against multiple teams. I mean, it's not like everybody's feeling the same bite. But look, credit to Shane, though. He made some of his best pitches in that game, multiple 3-2 counts. But he did have the blessing of getting a big lead, right? It's much easier to pitch confidently when you have a big lead like that. Again, Means looked woof levels of bad and just rocket after rocket off him in that start. Here, McClanahan will see a bit of a taper down Yankees lineup after the woeful defeat against the Red Sox. This bullpen's had some tough days this season, that goes without saying. While this lineup is a bit tapered down, as I mentioned, they are getting a bit healthier. Not nearly as many free outs as there once was in this Yankees lineup, and still plenty of potent right-handed bats. While McClanahan's numbers may appear fairly even versus righties and lefties, the sample size is far larger versus righties than lefties. He's seen about almost 5 times as many at-bats versus righties than lefties. And look, it's hard to compare numbers like that when you say, I think he's only had 12 total innings against left-handed bats. So it's hard to really understand or at least justify that data you're seeing. But I more believe the right-handed data, which again, he weighted OBA of about 300 versus both lefties and righties. But again, I'm more believing of the right-handed bats. He's going to see plenty of right-handed bats in this start from the Yanks. Now look, we know McClanahan throws smoke, and as I mentioned, when he's not giving up free passes or home runs, he's actually a really good arm. But can he avoid both in back-to-back starts? I mean, maybe. But again, this Yankees lineup isn't really smooth sailing for any lefty in its current state. And they're not fully healthy either, but even now, I'd argue they're a tough out or a tough cruise through with all the righties they have. Speaking of pressure, could the New York media be any more brutal to the Yankees? Look, I get it, and I'm a little guilty of this myself in certain instances. Boone's decision-making has been bad. The bullpen's been a nightmare. They've had injuries out the ass, and yet look, 9 games out of first place. In baseball, that can be made up in a few weeks. I'm by no means a Yankee fan, but this market complete turn on them, and what this line is just kind of crazy. I mean, you'd think the Rays were playing the Orioles here. Oh, wait a minute. Just last week, this line was nearly identical versus the Orioles, a team that, by the way, is 17 games back from the Yankees. Let's move over to Montgomery. I've said this before. I think Taillon's a better arm slightly than Montgomery, even though Montgomery seems to get a lot more of the credit here in New York. Look, not by much, and it's not like Montgomery's a bad arm either. I just watched both pitch a lot, and I think Taillon's slightly better. Again, some of the advanced numbers will defend Montgomery here, but again, eye test for me, Taillon passes more. Either way, all I'm saying here is the two are closer in caliber than a lot of people believe, or at least in my opinion. I know it's subjective. Montgomery, though, absolutely rakes against left-handed bats, and it's not like he's all that bad versus righties either. Better ERA at home versus the road, but again, nothing eye-popping. Nelson Cruz was a great pickup for the Rays, but one bat does not turn this entire team from a bottom team in Major League Baseball versus left-handed pitching to all of a sudden a top 5 team. The Rays have a lot of everyday starters that are lefty or left-handed bats, and either they're going to platoon a few extra guys here, or bat their normal lefties. Again, Montgomery is very good against left-handed bats, and he's not like he's bad against righties either. You're going to see some mix in between here with the Rays, who they start, who they sit. But again, I would expect to see as many righties as the Rays can fit into this lineup. But again, they're going to be worse bats than their typical lefty starters. Here's something for you. On June 2nd, these two pitchers actually met up in New York. Odds on that game, Yankees minus 140. These two met up again less than 2 months. These two now meet up less than 2 months afterwards. And now the Yankees are plus 130, plus 135, pending your book. This line's almost shifted like 80 cents, 90 cents. Sure, there's various things in play here, right? Judge is out for the Yanks. He was in that game, right? The Rays now have Nelson Cruz, who they didn't have for the previous game. This game is now in Tampa. Let's assume for a moment that the original line was correct on June 2nd. Look, we can debate on how much batters are worth to a line in certain instances, right? Like I'd argue Trout's the most important player to a betting line in baseball from a batter's perspective. If he's on the ceiling end, and I'd go as far to say he's about sub 20-ish cents to a line, maybe 25. What are Cruz and Judge? I mean, Cruz is a DH. You're going to get his bat. Judge is very similar. 15 cents, I'd say is probably fair. It's probably a little high as it is, but we'll do it for this example. So if we said both of those players are worth 15 cents to a line, which again is high, then home field at another 20 cents, that's half a dollar. That would make this line actually Yankees plus 110. If, again, we were assuming that line on June 2nd was correct, we do still have 20 cents to go to get to 130, and therein lies the value. Now, I get it. Yanks are getting killed right now from the media. People want Boone's head. Bullpen's a disaster. Rays solidified their playoff push with a big DH who mashes lefties. To me, it's all too much, though. The Rays could spank the Yanks here. Doesn't excuse the fact that this line has no business being this high. This is, to me, is just a perception line based on how these two teams are playing coming in, or at least mentally playing coming in. I'm getting the much more motivated team in the Yankees, who I'm sure want nothing more than to blast through this little enigma. I'd argue the pitching matchup is near equal. I'd argue the lineups are near equal. I can remove the current Yankees bullpen scares with this first 5 bet, and all I need is a tie game after 5 at limited vig. Love the spot here, so Yanks first 5 plus half a run minus 115 versus the Rays. Got that at DraftKings Sportsbook in New Jersey. May the odds be ever in our favor. Want to thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, thumbs up. Create some fake accounts more. Thumbs up. If you did not enjoy, I hope you wake up with your balls inside a meat cleaver. As always, drop comments below on your thoughts for the vid. Let me know who you're also betting for tomorrow's slate. You guys know. Comment section. Warm water. Dive on in. And also, like I always get back to you guys. We'll have content lined up on the channel all week. A little more MLB from Joey Work, PGA with me and the DFS crew, Olympic tennis with spread as well. Should be on Wednesday and Friday. This will keep you covered. And again, Joey's got you covered in bases for the next 2 days. Again, be sure to stay tuned for the weekly PGA vid, as I mentioned, on Tuesday night with the DFS crew. Until then, though, folks, and I'll be back on Thursday night with a vid for Friday. But again, until then, be sure to gamble responsibly. Stay safe, folks. Thanks again for watching.